Live from Washington, D.C., Jay Sekulow Live. Phone lines are open for your questions right now. And now, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. We have got a major development in the case involving the Green Beret, Sergeant Martland. You remember the case. This was a brave U.S. soldier served in Afghanistan, witnessed a sexual abuse of children by Afghan officials, intervened to stop it. After he ordered it to be stopped, the individual would not. He engaged to protect the child. He is being thrown out of the United States Army. The Inspector General has released a report to Duncan Hunter where the Inspector General said that the Army and military personnel are very supportive of Sergeant Martland in his efforts to remain in the U.S. Army. Congressman Hunter's taking a lead on it. We have been talking about this as well. Skip Ash, Senior Counsel for the ACLJ, retired colonel in the United States Army. Skip, the order to stand down, which there wasn't here, would have been illegal even if it was given.
That's correct, but it was understood that that's what they were acting upon. So whether that was an order that was ever given or not, it was the common understanding at that end of the spear that that was an order, and they took action because that's an unlawful order. All
right, so Jordan, the Army Human Resource Command has recommended that the Green Beret who confronted the Afghan police commander for the sexual abuse of the young boy be kicked out of the service. The Review Command has said the same thing. This is a big issue now, and we've got to get public support on this because we're working with Congressman Hunter, but we really have to get the support going here.
Yeah, we need more members of Congress to join with Congressman Hunter. We need more people speaking out about this. This is an incident that happened back in 2011. The Army has delayed this process. There have been delays issued and grants of extra time extensions here. There's another appeal available. But ultimately here, this is about when you're at these forward operating bases and you've got this kind of horrible behavior, disgusting behavior by someone in the Afghan police force. If removing them from the base, and that may have gotten physical, but having to remove them from the base because they were abusing a child, knowingly abusing a child. You could hear it. You were asked by the family to intervene. And now a Green Beret who's received all of that special training from our armed forces, which means from our taxpayer dollars, who's willing to risk his life to serve our country, is the Army is recommending getting rid of him.
Folks, I want you to engage with us on this. First, sign the petition, which is at 180,000. I want to get it to 250,000. We've got to speak out for this sergeant. This is not right. ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255. So it's ACLJ.org or 1-877-989-2255. You need to sign that petition today. Let's speak out for this sergeant. We got to defend him. He was doing the right thing, and he's being thrown out of the United States Army. ACLJ.org or 877-989-2255. Back with more in a moment.
A bad situation just got worse for a Green Beret war hero who defended a child from sexual assault. The U.S. Army has been threatening to kick out Sergeant Charles Martland, and now a top Army command is recommending just that. In Afghanistan, children, young boys and girls, are being sexually abused, and Sergeant Martland said, quote, "We felt a moral obligation to act." For his action, he faces expulsion from the Army. There's still time before a final decision is made. The American Center for Law and Justice is working with Congress and urging the Secretary of Defense to stop this moral outrage and reinstate this brave Green Beret. The U.S. military has a moral obligation to stop child abuse on our bases and exonerate Sergeant Martland for defending a child from assault. Add your name to our petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online, aclj.org.
So Army Human Resource Command has recommended that Green Beret Sergeant Martland, Charles Martland, be fired, removed from the United States Army. He's a decorated member of our armed services. He served with honor and valor in Afghanistan. His colleagues and member of the military personnel have supported him. And what is the end result of this? The end result of this is an appeal review board has recommended that he goes. What was his crime? What did he do wrong? What violation? This is the allegation. He intervened to protect a young boy who was being sexually abused by an Afghan commander on a U.S. military outpost. Now let's think about this for a moment. He intervened to protect a young boy from being sexually abused on an outpost of the United States military. And who is the one being thrown out of the Army? Sergeant Martland. And this is absolutely absurd. Now, we need for you to join with us in this fight because, Jordan, this is going to take, now that this review board has come in, this is going to take a whole nother level of engagement to get this situation resolved.
Absolutely right. This will take a grassroots outcry across the country, and everybody listening to this broadcast right now for this Green Beret. He wants to serve. He wants to continue to serve. That's all indication because he's appealed this process, gone through every step possible. There have been others that found themselves in this situation who basically said, even with all the training they've received and the valor they've served with, that they ultimately said, okay, I'm done with this. I can't deal with this anymore. But he has decided, Sergeant Martland, he wants to stay in our armed forces and continue to serve our country. We should be standing with him.
Jesse on Facebook writes, we're supposed to stand against this type of tragedy, whether it's on American soil or not. And Skip, a military outpost of a U.S. base in Afghanistan is, in a sense, U.S. territory.
Well, that's right. I mean, the United States is responsible for it and therefore responsible for everything that goes on that base. The thing here, though, that's critical to remember is by excluding him from service, he will get no retirement benefits whatsoever. Because he hasn't reached the 20-year period. So this is he gets no benefit for having served honorably. And that's what's especially egregious about this, in my view.
We are hearing from members of military families. Joshua's calling from Millport, New York, retired Marine. Joshua, thank you for calling in, and thank you for your service to the country.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The reason why I'm calling is I'm shaken from this ridiculous act the government is doing against this fine soldier, a fine soldier. And my freedom of speech, my stance right now is that it needs to start with the commander-in-chief.
Absolutely.
The presidency of the United States needs to step forward. This young man did exactly what he was supposed to do. And now, because of some bureaucratic situation with some high-ranking official has turned the tables, and the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, needs to personally step into this situation, take control of it, and dismiss this whole nonsense, allow this fine young man to serve his country the way that it needs to be done. And I pray in God's name that, and I will pray for him, and I hope everyone else will, and that's my stance. I don't want to get on a rant and rave.
No, listen, Joshua, I appreciate you calling in again. Thank you for your service. I want to ask this to Skip. Skip, I'm reading as we've been investigating this and working on this, of course, on Capitol Hill. Here's the thing that I'm very concerned about. You've got the incident was in 2011 while Martland was serving in Afghanistan. He and another soldier confronted an Afghan local police commander at an outpost, military outpost, for kidnapping and repeatedly sexually abusing a young boy. All he did was separate him, rejected him from the base. This now, because of the military's bureaucracy or whatever it is here, they are throwing him out of the Army. Now, the commander-in-chief of the United States is the president. The president could say, we're just not going to do that.
Well, exactly right. He has the authority to do that. The thing is, it took so long because at one point in time, the Green Berets are really needed. Remember, we're beginning to withdraw from those areas. The military's downsizing. So now they're looking for some type of discriminator to get people out. And because he was reprimanded for what he did, that's a black mark. And therefore, there are a lot of people with no black marks. So they're using this black mark against him. But the issue is exactly right. He's the one who showed the moral compass here. He's the one who obeyed not only the Uniform Code of Military Justice, but Afghan law, and he's the one being punished. It is completely unjust. The president should intervene.
Sharon from Periscope asks what we can do to help Sergeant Martland. And Jordan, we've got this is where we utilize our Office of Governmental Affairs in Washington, D.C. and our legal team as well to put together what the legal position is, that this was not, and Skip, we probably need to get an opinion drafted from our team that this was not a violation of law, of military code and conduct.
That's right. In fact, we already sent in our letter that went in October, laid that out, but we can expand that.
I have that. I'll pull that up during the break here. So we've got I've got it right here. Here is our letter that we have sent. I'm showing it to first Facebook and Periscope. Those watching on the internet, there you go. We've got it up. Well, I'm sure it's up on the website too. Here's the thing, Jordan, though. We've got to really mobilize people to get action. I mean, it's got to take because we're at level 2 now. Level 2 has said no, he goes. So the appeals are getting harder and harder as we get up the chain here. We've got to mobilize the American people, and there's just not been enough attention on this guy's case.
No, there needs to be more attention. I mean, the abuse, I know people don't like thinking about that, talking about it, but understand he tried to step in to do something about it in a way that he could, and that's why we should be standing with Sergeant Martland. We need that grassroots outcry. We need it to start today on the broadcast through everybody who's listening to this show right now. We've got a member of Congress like Duncan Hunter, Congressman Hunter, who's ready to take a lead on this. We can get more members of Congress. This could be a bipartisan effort and ultimately make sure that if Sergeant Martland wants to remain in the military, that decision will be up to him.
Well, I'll tell you what we need to do, and that is exactly what Jordan said. We need to organize and mobilize. Now, we sent out a letter October 19th. We're going to do another draft updating it on this. This is a tough appeal, folks. I want to be really, look, this is serious. Ruth on Facebook, though, said this, and this is a really good point. Children should always be protected. He did the right thing. What an outrage. And it is an outrage indeed. So here's what we're asking everybody to do right now. We want to take direct action on this. I need you to go to aclj.org. or call us at 1-877-989-2255. That's aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. And what I need you to do, what Sergeant Martland needs you to do, what our men and women serving in the military need you to do is take action. I want to get 250,000 people from all 50 states to engage this issue. So we need your help. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. The Inspector General told Duncan Hunter, Congressman Hunter, that in fact, this man served honorably and that his peers in the military are with him on this. The question now is, will the American people be with him? And I know the answer is yes. But folks, we need to hear from you. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. We can win this. But we need your help, and we need you to engage now. aclj.org or 877-989-2255, and I urge you to make that call. Folks, also, don't forget our book, Undemocratic, out in just a few days. We're trying to get it on the New York Times bestseller list. It's the paperback edition, expanded edition, 2 more chapters. Let me encourage you to get it. The book's available wherever you buy your books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And again, the goal here is to get it on the New York Times bestsellers list, so go ahead and put it. If you could order it today, I think on Amazon it's down to like $9 and change. I mean, they keep it, which is great. So aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255 for Sergeant Martland.
A bad situation just got worse for a Green Beret war hero who defended a child from sexual assault. The U.S. Army has been threatening to kick out Sergeant Charles Martland, and now a top Army command is recommending just that. In Afghanistan, children, young boys and girls, are being sexually abused, and Sergeant Martland said, quote, "We felt a moral obligation to act." For his action, he faces expulsion from the Army. There's still time before a final decision is made. The American Center for Law and Justice is working with Congress and urging the Secretary of Defense to stop this moral outrage and reinstate this brave Green Beret. The U.S. military has a moral obligation to stop child abuse on our bases and exonerate Sergeant Martland for defending a child from assault. Add your name to our petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online, aclj.org.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. Rapid Fire Round. We're joined by Skip Bass, Senior Counsel for the ACLJ, former Colonel from the United States Army, retired, and Colonel Wes Smith, also retired. Chaplain, served with distinction in conflict zones around the world, and also served at the Army Human Resource Command. They're both joining me and Jordan. We're going to go right back to the phones. Glenn's been holding for a long time, Vietnam vet. Glenn, thank you for your service. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Jay. It was an honor to serve this country, and my grandson's currently serving also. And I'm just concerned. It seems like our bureaucrats at any level can't protect children at all. I mean, look at this situation, and also the one in Texas, where they're trying to prosecute people that are trying to save these unborn babies.
Yeah.
And it's just it's emblematic of the moral decay of this country when we can't protect children. I
want to raise this with Wes and with and Skip here. Let me start with Skip, then go to Wes. Skip, I mean, if you visualize what happened here, military outpost, an Afghan commander sexually abusing a child. You're the Green Beret, or you're the Army guy, the officer, or you're the enlisted guy. You tell him you do everything you can to stop it.
That's exactly right. If you have any moral compass at all, you put a stop to that type of thing. It violates the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which binds all of our soldiers. It violates Afghan law, which binds the others, and it violates international law. Afghanistan and the United States are both signatories to decrees that are against that. You must take action.
So, Wes, let me ask you this. You served as a chaplain. You counseled with a lot of soldiers. The moral character of our military is critical here. And Absolutely. To me, this is undercutting that moral character. It puts it in jeopardy, I should say.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he's being penalized basically because of the moral indignation that he had. And yet, integrity is one of the 7 Army values. I mean, he's really living up to the Army values by being, shocked and completely not accepting what happened there. And, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I'll tell you what, Jay, the other thing that concerns me about it, I notice he's been in 11 years. Normally, when this kind of thing happens, you can qualify for a temporary early retirement authority, and you can still retire with pay. He will get a small amount, perhaps. Skip would know better about separation pay, but he cannot even retire.
Well, Skip, you raised that before. That's a big issue. It's a big penalty.
Yeah. I'm wondering,
it really is.
If you don't mind, Jay, I'd like to ask you. It seems to me, whenever this happens, I know when you get a bad NCOER or you get an Article 15 or even a general letter of reprimand, you do not have to sign off on it, Skip. As I understand it, my experience in the Army, you can actually go to court-martial with this, a summary court-martial. Is that still an option for him to fight it?
With respect to a letter of reprimand, he doesn't have to accept it. He's allowed to respond to it, but it's I don't think he has the option because that's not a legal a court. If he were to receive an Article 15 non-judicial punishment, he can claim court-martial in lieu of that, but not for a letter.
So his options are very limited. Let me go ahead and take another call here. Fran's calling from line 5. Hi, Fran.
Hi, Jay.
Yes.
I'm a family member of military. My husband served and my son served.
Well, thank you for your family service.
Oh, we appreciate all of them, especially the ones that are still serving. I just wanted to say that I called my congressman, who's Jim Jordan.
Okay.
And Jim's a pretty vociferous congressman, as you've known.
Great guy, good friend.
And I left word with his aide. I know Jim pretty well.
Good.
And I asked them to check into this also. So just wanted to pass that along.
No, hey, Fran, I really appreciate that because, Jordan, this is probably the critical stage of this now, we need to get wide bipartisan support here.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. People like Congressman Jordan, standing with Congressman Hunter, people who have those members who are family members who are in the armed forces, speaking out, joining up, getting involved in this effort. That is a way forward. And there is hope here. This is not just reporting the news. We don't do that on this broadcast. We give you a way to get involved. And you're already hearing that from some folks who, like our last caller who called in. We need that more people like that to take that initiative and stand with Sergeant Martland. Yep. And they could be doing so, for many of them that are listening to this broadcast, because they've got a family member serving right now.
Yeah, ACLJ.org is the easiest way to do it, or 1-877-989-2255. Got a call coming in here on line 3 from Laurie. I think, Wes, you're going to find this interesting because Laurie's going to talk about the chaplains. Go ahead, Laurie.
Hi, I'm the wife and mom of military retirees. Both my husband and my son served in the U.S. Navy. And I've been really associated with the military chapels here. We have been volunteers there for many, many years. And what I have noted is that the military, and especially the Navy, has been systematically downsizing the chaplain corps.
Yeah.
Now, their excuse is that there aren't that many priests around. But what I noticed was that, as officers, there's an up or out. Well, a lot of the priests that were here were expecting to be, to get a
Let's
promotion.
get Wes right, because we're close on time here, Laurie. We've got the former Navy, Army, no, get that right, former Army chaplain with us. So, Wes, what is the status on that?
Well, in the Army, of course, they're drawing down on the chaplain corps because when Iraq and Afghanistan were going on, we had 2,800 chaplains just in the Army. And so there is a drawdown simply because the Army is getting smaller and the needs have decreased. The Navy, it's hard, from what I hear from my Navy chaplain friends, it's hard to get promoted in the Navy chaplain corps, and it is up or out at some point. If you don't get promoted, then you will have to leave.
Yeah. So this is the reality of a reduction in military. Mike's calling, retired military officer from California. Hi, Mike.
Yes, Jay. My name's Mike. I was in the military as an officer, and so was my father, and even other members of my family. Yep. And I think this is an indication, really, of how far our moral code in the country has fallen, because this just doesn't happen to a soldier like this without the JAG officers, all the way up the chain of command, which is all the way to the top, without them being complicit.
Yeah, well, let me find that out, because the program's coming to an end here. Skip, what about that? Because Mike brings up a really important point here. Somebody had to say this was the right thing to do.
Right, somebody had to initiate this, and I think what we're seeing, though, is that this is being used as a means of reducing the size of the service, when that is a misuse of the regulations that guide this type of separation. So, but somebody has put him into that pile and is going that way. And what we need to do is we need to find the decision makers who make these wrong decisions, and we need to bring pressure on them to do the right thing and to operate in the right way.
We are very committed to defending our men and women in the military and defending freedom. And that's whether it's in the courtroom, whether it's in the halls of Congress, around the globe, or even in the music that our band puts together, the Jay Sekulow Band. A lot of you have seen that music over the last year. We did a song called Mother Freedom, talking about freedom. And I thought it'd be really appropriate to play that song for you right now. All right, we're out of time, but folks, let me tell you what we want you to do. Taking action is critical. We have about 200,000 signatures. If I add the phone calls to it, I want to get to 250,000 because we've got to get, as we've talked about on this broadcast, more members of Congress engaged in this issue. So if you would join us in this fight, go to aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. aclj.org or 1-877-989-2255. Sign on to this fight. Stand with us as we stand for this sergeant. Again, the easiest way, aclj.org, or you could call 1-877-989-2255.
A bad situation just got worse for a Green Beret war hero who defended a child from sexual assault. The U.S. Army has been threatening to kick out Sergeant Charles Martland, and now a top Army command is recommending just that. In Afghanistan, children, young boys and girls, are being sexually abused, and Sergeant Martland said, quote, "We felt a moral obligation to act." For his action, he faces expulsion from the Army. There's still time before a final decision is made. The American Center for Law and Justice is working with Congress and urging the Secretary of Defense to stop this moral outrage and reinstate this brave Green Beret. The U.S. military has a moral obligation to stop child abuse on our bases and exonerate Sergeant Martland for defending a child from assault. Add your name to our petition right now. Call 1-877-989-2255. That's 1-877-989-2255, or add your name online, aclj.org.